Hello guys, how are you today? I I'm loving this sunshine. It's cold out, but sunshine just does so much for my mood. Um, as a lot of you may have seen if you're following along on Facebook, we kind of jetted out of here for a short little getaway to Florida for about 4 days. We went to Manasota Key, and it was absolutely perfect. It was gorgeous. We were right on the beach in an Airbnb. Oh, and there's some water dripping from right there. Um, and I just think that short little getaway did so much for my spirits too. Like, just being able to be outside and in the sun, so good for me. And I highly recommend it if you can do something like that. So, however, I feel a little bit unorganized because it was a very kind of spur of the moment. I usually am a very much a plan ahead type person, and this was a very quick trip. We didn't have a lot of time ahead of time to prepare, so I just feel a little bit like um, there's a lot going on and I got to catch up, I guess. But it was totally worth it. So, what's going on the farm? Again, not a lot. While we were gone, we got a lot of snow. Really glad I missed it, the event. And then it got very, very, very cold. It's still pretty cold. So, the high tunnel is still in limbo. I'm hoping I won't be able to do anything on it this weekend because I have to work at the hospital all weekend, but maybe if the weather cooperates the following weekend, we may be able to get the plastic on it. And then at that point, I would say it would take probably a week for the soil to completely defrost in there if we get nice sunny days, which hopefully we will in February. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at here. And there is about a foot of snow in the garden. You can't really see the paths. You can't see anything. So there's not much to do out there. We're just waiting. Um, let's see what else. So I wanted to first off, we did the poppy seed giveaway, and great news. I was able to come up with 10 seed packets, not just 5. So I picked 10 winners that will receive a packet full of poppy seeds for you to plant. You can plant along with me, do the ice cube tray method. If you're interested in doing that, go back to the video and I'll show you how. Or if you have another method, use your method. That's great too. And if it works, share it with me because I'm always looking for advice on especially some of these seeds that are a little bit more difficult to start. So I'm going to read off the names of the 10 winners. If you hear your name, please reach out to me. I will be happy to mail these to you, or you can come pick them up if you'd rather come grab them right away. So the winners are April V, Renee L, Kim N, Sam G, Shannon D, Jennifer J, Elizabeth M, Kelsey E, Sherry V, and Teresa W. So if that's your name and you commented on that poppy post, then you're a winner. And reach out to me, please, and we'll figure out how to I'll get these seeds to you soon so you can get them going. Congratulations. Thank you so much for following along, and I wish I had enough to give to everybody. Honestly, I really tried to split them up in a way that I could give everybody a packet, but there just wasn't quite enough to do it that way. So, but there'll be plenty more giveaways. I already have some ideas that I'm working on. So, let's talk about the weather and sunrise and sunset. Holy cow. We are definitely gaining some traction now. Sunrise is at 7:48 this morning, and sunset is at 5:42. That gives us 9 hours and 54 minutes of daylight. And we are gaining 2 minutes and 13 seconds every single day. That is significant. 2 minutes a day. That's a minute in the morning and a minute at night, plus some. And it's a little hard to tell when it's cloudy out, but when we get nice clear days, man, you can see the difference. And I am here for it. I am here for it, and I will remind you about it, and I will try to keep our spirits up. So that is awesome. Also, on one of my Facebook posts, I asked for a little bit of feedback about some things that you guys were interested in. And I was actually really surprised. A lot of people started asking for Evergreen Flower Farm merch, like merchandise, like hats and shirts and stickers and stuff. So I I never like I don't know. I mean, that's so cool, and I'm so uh, like humble that you guys love this place that much, that you're interested in buying a shirt with the farm name on it. That's amazing. So I've gotten to work on that. I've started doing a little bit of research. I'm getting prices. Um, this is one of the hats. Or it is the hat that I'm going to be getting. As you can see, it's got a leather patch, and this is Taylor Marie Photography in Armada. She's a photographer that comes out here and does a lot of photo sessions and stuff. Sorry, I'm banging on my microphone. She made me this hat a couple years ago as a gift, and I absolutely adore it. It's on my head all the time this time of the year. It's super comfortable. It washes great. The leather patch this has been through the wash multiple times. It holds up wonderfully. So this hat with a leather patch, and then I'm also probably in this color green, and I'm looking into a pink color. Like, I kind of like this soft pink. I don't want something bright and in your face. I'm looking for something just kind of like a dusty, muted pink color, and maybe gray. Maybe not for the hat, but for the sweatshirts, I'm looking at pink and gray, I think. So if you have suggestions or have something that you'd really prefer, please go to the Facebook post with this video in it and leave a comment. I'm getting prices, so I don't know exactly which direction I'm going in. Maybe a hoodie, maybe a crew neck, maybe a zip up. So if you have an opinion, please leave it for me. I can't do everything at this point, so I'll have to make some decisions. But I'm just excited that you guys even want to wear this stuff. I love it. So, and what I'm thinking that we're probably going to do for this first one is a pre-order. So, like, I'll give you the prices. You would order the shirt in the size that you want, and then I would have it made. So, I think that's how we're going to work that. And then, I think I've finalized the date for our tea and terracotta workshop. I believe it's going to be April 24th, which is a Friday at 2 p.m. And this is the workshop where we're going to have like an English tea, and we are going to pot up plants in the beautiful Berg Potters terracotta pots. I am so excited for this one. Oh, I'm pretty much excited about everything, but this time of the year, these things it's what I hold on to. So, and then I had a question I wanted to, and maybe I'll put out a poll, thinking about offering a dahlia dividing workshop, and I would probably have it in May. The reason I want to do this, so we've done a dahlia growing workshop, and that's something I may do also. But dividing is very like, it takes a little bit of finesse, and I wouldn't include it in like just a general dahlia growing workshop, because I think you need to devote a little bit more time and practice to it than what I would be able to do in a growing workshop. Because there's so much to cover in a dahlia growing workshop. The one we had this spring, I think it was a 2-hour workshop, and I felt like I could have just kept talking forever. So um, I think I'm thinking about a dahlia dividing workshop. And here is another reason. I am really going to narrow down the varieties of dahlias that I'm going to grow on the flower farm, um, to the ones that produce the most for me, that are best for cutting, that have the best vase life, that hold up really well to cutting, and also to the colors that work the best in my bouquets. So I have some varieties that I have a lot of tubers or clumps of that I'm going to be cutting out of the lineup for next year. This does not mean they're not great dahlias. Some of these are absolutely fantastic dahlias, but they just don't work in either the color palette or the form. So like, I have some gorgeous, huge dahlias. They're called AC Ben. They are very tall plants, and they have their dinner plates, and oh my goodness, like when they're blooming, some of the flowers are probably 12 to 14 inches across. They're huge. And I love them, and the colors are beautiful, but they're just too big for me to put into market bouquets. And they don't really work well with the wedding flowers, like the buckets that I sell, because the color palette isn't perfect for that. So those are the type of things that I'm cutting out. So what I'm thinking is, like, if when you came to this workshop, everybody would get a clump of a certain type of dahlia, and then we would proceed to like cut them all up, and you guys would practice dividing the tubers, dividing the clumps into individual tubers. And let me take a minute to show you this right now. This is a clump of dahlia tubers. So I check on my tubers probably, like, I start checking on them in around January time. Before that, like, I put them away in October. I am so busy with wreath workshops and stuff like that they're not top priority for me. And I feel like I've got a good enough storage system now that I don't have to worry about them. But this time of the year, I like to pull them out and just randomly grab a set of tubers, a clump of tubers, and see how they are faring. So this is a clump called Bracken Rose. They're absolutely gorgeous ball dahlias. And you can see, like, there's a little bit of shriveling. You can see it like shrunk down here, but when you squeeze this tuber, it is nice and firm. There's no rot. There's no, ooh, well, that one just fell off, but, so these are storing really well. This is how I store most of my dahlias. I either leave them in the clumps and leave lots of dirt on them like this. Like you can see as I'm like flipping this around, all kinds of dirt is falling out of this. That dirt kind of helps to hold the moisture in and keeps them nice and healthy. So, yeah. So what we would do was, then we would at the workshop take this clump of tubers, and we would divide them down into individual tubers that in each tuber would make a plant. So I would estimate on this one, you're probably going to get about 8 to 10 tubers off of this clump. So, yeah, if you're storing dahlias, now is a great time to run out there and check on them, give them a little squeeze, make sure they're not drying out, make sure they're not rotting. And if you are having some issues, you can always adjust your conditions a little bit to get them through, because we've got February, March, and April before you're gonna pull these out and start waking them up. Maybe the end of April, maybe a little bit earlier if you wanted to take cuttings, but yeah. But those look like they're doing great. So let's see what else. One other plant I wanted to show you. I kind of thought it would be interesting to have just like our weekly dose of plants to get us through. I showed you some ranunculus. I showed you the bulbs that I am forcing in the garage. And this week I thought I would bring this out and show it to you. So this is an heirloom chrysanthemum. This is one of the chrysanthemums that I grew out in. I'm sorry, I'm probably bumping the microphone and making a whole bunch of noise. This is one of the chrysanthemums that I grew out in the field this past year. And in probably November, I went out and I dug up a chunk of it. I actually have a bunch more in the garage. I think I dug 2 plants of every variety that I wanted to ensure that they survived, because they were that beautiful and I want to make sure I had some. So this is a variety called French Vanilla. It is this huge, gorgeous, creamy white mum. And as you can see, it is just, it's doing amazing. It's sitting in these pots in the garage. I try to keep the garage between about 38 and 45 right now. When it's super cold like this, I have to keep the heater on more. And so it's up more around 45, because that's like the lowest temperature that thermostat on that heater will run to. But if it was a little bit warmer outside, I would just turn the heater off in the garage and it would stay right around 40 degrees in there because it's insulated. So this is great. This is doing amazing. My plans for these mums is probably about, I have to go back and look at my notes from last year, mid-February or beginning of March. I'm going to bring these inside the house down in the basement. I'm going to fertilize them. I'm going to start watering them on the regular, and they will start growing like crazy. And I will take cuttings off of these and make hundreds more mum plants to plant out in the field this year. So there's your weekly dose of green. Look at those babies. And oh my goodness, we're at 18 minutes already. One last thing I want to tell you, something that I am working on that I might have in the works for April, is the vintage market. So this is, if you look it up, it's on Facebook. It's I think it's just called the Vintage Market, and it says it's an upscale flea market style shopping experience. They were here at the Armada Fairgrounds. I think it was 2 years ago. Really, really cool. They bring in a lot of local vendors, and it's just a great spring shopping thing. So I applied to be a vendor there. They've reached out to me to ask a little bit more information about what I intend to sell and how I would set up and all that. So that is something that I may be attending as a vendor in the spring, which is exciting. I think that could be really cool. I'm thinking that I would have tons of tulip bouquets to sell, and I would probably like to take my take-home kits and sell those as well. So that's it from the farm. I can't believe I talked. It's almost 20 minutes. Every time I come out here, I think I don't have enough to even talk 15 minutes, and it just keeps coming out. So thank you if you're still with me. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for caring and watching these. And thanks, Dad. I know that you're watching these every week. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you back here next Friday, and it will be February.